Now, before we get into the deeper topics of Scrum, we need to actually pivot and talk about estimating in Agile. Over the next few lectures, we're going to be detailing out estimating in Agile. We're going to cover what estimating is, why it's done, and some of the most common estimation techniques that are utilized for Agile projects. Where I want to start is actually not looking at Agile. I want to talk about estimating for non-Agile projects. And this will help to give you some context prior to jumping into the Agile side. So for non-Agile projects, this is more waterfall or iterative projects, you are going to get absolute estimates. What I mean by that is you've completed requirements and you've handed those requirements for that particular item or task or feature over to a developer. And now that developer is going to developer or solutioner, because it may not be like a software developer. But anyways, you hand it over to the person that's going to be completing that particular feature, and they're going to read through everything, and from a non-Agile standpoint, they're going to deliver back a number. So this is going to usually signify the number of days for the duration of that particular feature. I feel this particular feature is going to take me 3 days to complete. That would be an absolute estimate. You're giving a set number of days in this case for how long it's going to take to complete that particular feature. Agile is a little bit different. Agile looks at things relative to the other features, items, tasks that were estimated as part of that project. So Agile looks at it and says, is this a small, or is this a medium, or is this a large item? We don't care about specifically how long we feel it's going to take us. We just need to know, is it small, medium, or large? What bucket does it go into? And now when we say a relative estimate, the reason we say that is it's relative to the other items that have already been estimated as part of that project. So let's break that down a little further with an example. On the screen, you'll see a fly, a frog, and an elephant. The fly is small. The frog is medium. And the elephant is large. So as we're working through, if we were trying to categorize or bucket a whole bunch of animals, we would use these as our relative sizing. If we find a rhinoceros, it's going to be a large. It's going to go with that elephant. If we find a butterfly, maybe that goes with the frog because it's the same size as the frog. Or maybe it's a really small butterfly and goes with the fly. So you can start to do the sizing or the estimating based on relativity to the other things that were already estimated. Now, the thing to recognize with the relative estimate is that relativity is really only inside of that project. So those team members are estimating tasks based on other tasks or features that were already estimated as part of that project. And so they're going to look to try to put it in that small, medium, or large bucket. But those buckets don't necessarily apply to every other project. Let's look at another one. So here we've got a ladybug, an elephant, and a tree. The ladybug here represents the small. The elephant is now a medium in this particular project, and the tree is a large. So as you can see, even though that elephant was a large estimated item as part of the previous project, that exact same item or requirement or feature could be estimated as a medium as part of a different project. It's all relative to the other items, the other tasks, the other features that are being estimated out. So it's a really important concept to grasp. So I hope that makes sense in regards to a relative estimate from an Agile standpoint to an absolute estimate in non-Agile. Personally, from an estimation standpoint, Agile is so much easier. It's so much easier to do a relative estimate than it is to do an absolute estimate for a couple reasons. One is you can just kind of place it in a bucket, comparing it to other things, rather than detailing out in your mind every step that you need to complete to then come up with an absolute estimate. So that's one big thing. And the other big thing is the third bullet points that I have listed here. In Agile, updates usually don't affect a whole lot in the project. They usually have a pretty minor effect. And what I mean by updates is an estimation update. So let's say we put it into a small bucket and it ends up turning into a medium-sized feature. Okay, well, it could hurt us in our sprint a little bit. We could maybe not get everything done that we wanted to get done, but it's okay. We can bump another thing out to the next sprint. From a non-Agile standpoint, it can have pretty dire consequences for a project. What I mean by that is, let's say it was estimated at 2 days, and then it actually took 4 days to complete. Well, that 2 extra days has to come from somewhere. And I guarantee on the plan, there were other features and items and tasks that were lined up to be completed after that. Well, now that that first one got pushed back, it has to cascade across all of those other tasks, moving them back or trying to find a way to make up that additional 2 days that was unaccounted for because of the incorrect or invalid estimate.